Okay, so we listened to this conversation a couple of times, and now we're going to practice our comprehension. Do we remember what the different speakers were saying? And if we don't remember, that's okay. We can look back. We can go back to our text, but let's see if we could remember together. So let's look at number 1. It says, Sophia wants to buy a refrigerator. What is the problem? Okay, so you have your workbook. You can look back if you don't remember the problem, but let's look at the answers and see if we can figure out the best answer. So A, she doesn't have a car. B, she doesn't have any credit. C, she doesn't have a credit card. And D, she doesn't have enough money. And D is circled for you. D is an example. She doesn't have enough money. Okay, let's look at number 2. And you can use, I'm sorry, I didn't say this, but you could use a pen or pencil to work on this. So you do need a pen or pencil for this assignment. So if you need to take a moment to get that, you can do that now. So let's look at number 2. What does Jackie think Sophia should do? A, take out a loan. B, get a new credit card. C, pay off her car loan. Or D, buy a used refrigerator. What do you think? What does Jackie think Sophia should do? So this one is tricky because it seems like there are a couple of answers. Maybe you saw that as well. I don't see her recommending to take out a loan. I don't see her saying that for A. Does she recommend getting a new credit card? She says, how about putting it on credit, right? Why don't you buy it on credit? She doesn't say get a new credit card, so I'm not certain about B. C, pay off her car loan. She doesn't mention that. Sophia says we need to pay off our car loan. Jackie doesn't say you have to pay your car loan. So C is not correct. What about D, buy a used refrigerator? Does Jackie think Sophia should do that? She said maybe you can look online and find a used refrigerator. So for this one, I think D, buy a used refrigerator, is the correct. But I could see some of you getting a little confused and thinking maybe get a new credit card. I would say D for number 2. Okay, let's look at number 3. Which statement is true? Sophia wants a new credit card. Sophia never borrows money. Sophia is worried about getting into debt. Sophia needs to borrow money for her car loan. Which one is true? I think there's only one that stands out, and the others are incorrect. C, Sophia is worried about getting into debt. I think she mentions that. She says she does not want to get into debt. I don't want to get into debt, she says. We already have to pay off our car loan. Okay, so it would be C for number 3. And you are circling these in your workbook. Okay, and number 4, which statement is true? Jackie never uses a credit card. Jackie has more than one credit card. Jackie uses her credit card every day. Jackie spends too much on her credit card. This is not what we think. This is what is true. And I think the only one we can prove, there's only one that we could prove to be true, and that would be B. Jackie has more than one credit card because she says in the second line, I have 4 cards. That's the only one that is true. It's the only statement that's true. Make sure that you have all your answers circled. And we're going to look at the next page. We're going to look at page 79. And we're going to be doing some math. And I'm going to help you with the first problem and maybe a little bit with the second problem. But the third problem I want you to do for homework. So we're going to work together on this. And this is simple math, but they're big numbers. And we need to practice this because in life, we have to deal with numbers and we have to deal with purchases and sometimes big purchases. And we need to know, do we have enough money to afford what we want to buy? Okay. What is our balance in the bank? How much do we have to borrow? So we're going to be working on the math problem. So if we turn to page 79 in your book, I'm going to also use a whiteboard. You might want to use some paper in your notebook to help you with giving you some space to write. I don't like to write math problems in small areas. I like a lot of room to write. So another piece of paper, maybe in your notebook, would be helpful. Okay, we're going to look at problem number 1. This is an example, but we're going to work on this together. So number 1 says, Sue Lin and Chung Hee have a balance of $28,000 in their savings account. They want to buy a new car that cost $30,500. If they use all the money in their savings account, how much do they need to borrow to buy the new car? I'm going to read it one more time so we understand what is being asked here. Sue Lin and Chung Hee have a balance of $28,000 in their savings account. This is how much they have, right? This is how much they have in their bank account. They want to buy a new car that cost $30,500. So we notice this number is higher than their balance in their account, right? The price of the car is higher. If they use all the money in their savings account, how much do they need to borrow to buy the new car? Okay. So this was done for you, but I'm going to write it on my board just so I can show you the math. So I'm going to write $30,500, just like it's written there. And I'm putting this number on first, on top. Do you know why? This number is higher. It's a bigger number. And we can't put this number second because we wouldn't be able to subtract. We always put the higher number first when we are subtracting. We want to find out how much do they need to get, right? How much do they need to borrow because they don't have enough money. So the second number is how much they actually have, right? They have $28,000 in their savings account. Okay. So we have $30,500 minus, and this is the subtraction symbol, minus $28,000. Okay. So, how do we do the math here? How do we subtract this from this? Well, luckily we have a lot of zeros here, so we can leave the 500. We can just bring that down. But then we have to subtract 30. We have to subtract 28 from 30. Right? 30 minus 28. Well, we can do that pretty easily, right? This is a big number, but actually, these are small numbers. 30 minus 28. How much is that? 30 minus 28. I think it's 2, right? And we have a comma here. We're going to bring it down. So this is 2,500. This is what they need to borrow to make up the cost of the car, because the cost of the car is higher than what they actually have in the bank. So 2,500 is what they need to borrow from the bank. Okay, that was pretty simple, straightforward. Okay, let's look at the second question. Suzanne and Pete have a balance of $950 in their savings account. They want to buy a new refrigerator. It cost $1,200. If they use all the money in their savings account, how much do they need to borrow? Okay, so let's see. We have the same problem here, I think, right? They have less money in their savings account than the cost of what they want to purchase, right? The cost of the refrigerator. So how much do they have in their savings account? What is their balance? Okay. Their balance is $950. How much is the refrigerator? How much does the refrigerator cost? The refrigerator cost $1,200, right? $1,200. So what we need to do is we need to put the higher number first, right? If we're going to subtract to find out how much they need to borrow. So the higher number, which one is it? Is it 950 or is it 1,200? I think we know, right? It's 1,200. So we have the money sign. That's the money sign, right? 1,200, right? And we are going to subtract, okay? And we are going to put, and we can do this to make it a little easier, right? We're going to do $950. Okay. So this is a little different because we're going to have to borrow a number here to make this subtract, because you can't subtract 5 from 0, right? So let me bring down these zeros. Let me bring down the period here. Okay. So we can't do 20. We can't subtract 95 from 20, right? So what we can do is we can make this a 1, and we can make this a 10. Instead of a 0, we can make it a 10. So now we have 10 minus 5, and we're going to bring it down. Okay. And again, we can't do 9 from 1, but we can do 11 minus 9, right? 11 minus 9. And what is 11 minus 9? We took 9 away from 11. How much would we have? We would have 2. So when asked, how much do they need to borrow? Not as much as number 1, right? Number 1 was 2,500. They need to borrow $250. Okay. You see how we got that? Okay. All right, so number 3, are we up for the challenge? I'm going to read it to you. Dora and Julian have saved $1,500. They want to buy a television. It cost $1,200. They also need a new washing machine. It cost $800. If they use all their savings, how much do they need to borrow to buy the TV and washing machine? I am going to have you work on this problem. I want you to think about all of the numbers. There are more numbers here, right? There's 1,500, there's 1,200, there's 800. So you're going to have to be doing some addition as well. Okay. Let's see if you could work on this problem for homework, and then we can check in next time and see if you got it correct. Okay. All right. Have a good day, everybody. You can do it. See you later.